Hello, YouTubers and all those who happen to watch. Hope you guys are all doing quite well nonetheless. So, alright, this is a video response towards Adam. Now, this is sort of going to be one of those negative criticism videos out of me, and at the same time, I'm trying to look at it in a very positive perspective. Now, I'm not here to give him a hard time, period. This is just me recapping what he said, as well as I'm going to give what my thoughts are on the positives and negatives of people being critical on video games in general. So, alright, he was generally talking about one of the guys, from Hard News, who I believe he doesn't do that anymore. I don't follow Hard News anymore, so I don't care. So, he was talking about Devil May Cry, which of course I believe it was Angry Joe or something like that was covering that, and he did it was funny, entertaining. That's all I can say and pull out of that. The other guy there from Hard News, and someone can correct me with the name, and don't bother me. Pretty much were saying that with the new Metal Gear Rising game, that they weren't very educated with the game. They just were playing it at just quick enough to give a review for their channel. That's generally how it was. He was trying to be one of those, quick reviewers to get it done out and off, so that way he can meet the quota of that first 3-week, shelf life of the game. The person probably could have enjoyed it at some point. At the same time, they're probably honest about it. Who knows? But at the end of the day, I fully have not tried out the game myself. I have tried the demo of the game. That's about it. So I can't say I fully played the game. I can only say I played the demo. So I can say that the game itself, the demo-wise, was okay. The cutting physics, which is mostly what they showed off in that demo. Past that, the game, I guess, to a lot of folks, did have a decent stealth mechanic, did have all this, that, and the bag of chips. So at the end of the day, it's pretty much eye of the beholder with that title, because not a lot of people really wanted this type of Metal Gear game. They were expecting sort of a Solid Snake style, whole stealthy feel to it, like the classic NES or the MSX, or depending which Metal Gear you're thinking of, or perhaps Metal Gear Solid for the PlayStation 1. Whatever the case may be, let's move on. So, we're looking at the negativity in video games, and, some people can do it quite educationally. Of course, some people might be offended by their educational facts, because they can't tolerate that, because, I don't know, fanboys or something of that nature, I'm not sure. I mean, you can call them whatever you want, I guess. A lot of people can't handle the truth with certain games. This is just how it is. For example, no game is perfect. None. Games I happen to like are not perfect. I know this for a fact. A lot of people know this for a fact. They will tell you as a fact because they generally is not for them, so therefore they're just not afraid to tell you the honesty about this game. With the Metal Gear Solid series, I think with the guy with Hard News there, the former guy there from Hard News from Screw Attack, he was sort of critical on it because he was expecting more of a stealthy game, or something like that, I suppose, even though he, quite frankly, probably already knew it was a, hack and slash, meet some slight elements of stealth kind of game. Sort of like a Deus Ex of Evolution, or Revolution, excuse me. Moving back into play here with the ball, here's what I thought of most of the critical, cynical people of today. That's just it. It's their opinion. I don't care. If I like the game personally, it don't bother me if what they're saying about the game. Is the game going to be ripped out of my hands because they're saying the game's so bad? I mean, again, if I don't understand the point where people are putting up their pitchforks because of all the negative opinions about a game. Will it de-sell the game a little bit? Sure, but if you enjoy the game, you paid for that game, what's the big deal? You're the one that contributed towards a company that you happen to respect and accommodate for the game. You wish to help them make more games in the future because of the sales and the production, etc., etc. Touch my nipples with a vice grip, please. And I, at the end of the day, will say this. For example, Fire Emblem. That game outsold itself very well. It done extremely well commercially. I'm never going to doubt that. At the same time, me personally, out of my opinion, said the game was not that great, though. I said it was good, it was fun, but it wasn't something that was perfect for me. And here's the reason why, and I'll explain it to you in a very detailed explanation, because someone was very offended by this, and I just want to go off the chain with this. So, alright, Fire Emblem. It's a game about a game about a game. Kidding. This game is about, the strategy of war as well as the hardships of war. That's generally what the core storyline is. Nothing spoiled there. As I broke into the game, I've noticed a bleak thing that was brutally just there and very presentive. When characters are having very common conversations with one another, them being male or female, if they're not anywhere attracted to each other yet, then the conversation of the social side of it becomes very generic, very watered down, where they say, well, what do you do for your spare time? Well, I pick mushrooms. Well, I pick my ass. Things like that was very, very stale to me. It was not anything too interesting. While, again, I understand it helps build the units and makes them stronger, I'm not here to say that was a total bad thing. It's just some of the elements to that was just, I think, lazy. I understand there's like a ton of people you could unlock in this game. There's a ton of people. But at the same time, I felt like it was sort of I wouldn't say not a lot of effort because the game took a lot of production, but it just felt like it was lazy. That's all. Past that, some of the other elements to the game were okay. The combat's not too shabby. The leveling isn't too shabby either. I mean, it's a grind, which I don't mind grinding video games as long as it gives me a reward after for doing it, which is, having stronger units, which is rewarding. So, at the end of the day, I think the game was a 8.0/8.5. It was that border between that category rating, where it's not a bad score by any means. It's a very safe score. It's a very fair score, and I think that's what it deserved. A lot of folks felt like it does deserve a 9.7 because they generally just love strategy games from Nintendo. That's just how it is. They just love Fire Emblem, so they're biased in that regard. Heck, I could say I'm honestly biased about certain games too. Just like Ys. Someone talks shit about Ys, I'm not going to care. But, I'm going to still say up and down the game's great. It deserves a lot of praise, but I know it doesn't deserve a lot of praise. I could say it as much as I want. It's just like with fanboys. They can love the hell out of Halo. I won't care about Halo, I mean, I have Halo stuff behind me, making me a little bit biased, but at the same time, I think that the game is cool. Just like how Fire Emblem is to me. It's not one of those games I'm going to remember for all time. It's just going to be one of those games I'm going to play through and enjoy. And that's all there is to it. That's the whole premise of video gaming. I think a lot of people just find the negativity in games without a cause. That's generally how it is. I mean, I look at video games as this. They're all going to be the same generally after a while. That's just how it is. They're going to find that one formula that's going to hit the tongue of the palate, and it's going to be successful. And every other developer out there who's looking for an idea, who can do an idea pretty decently, not perfectly, but can do it pretty decently, and will follow through with it. For example, there's not many games who make a game just like Just Cause. Not Just Cause, excuse me, for Uncharted. I mean, yes, Uncharted was slowly based off of the formula of Tomb Raider. However, with Nathan Drake, it was a lot different. The mechanics are a lot different too. And again, I haven't seen too many games like this particular title, but at the same time, I thought it was a fantastic title too. Did it have some of its problems? Part 3 wasn't as great. Part 1 wasn't as great as Part 2. Part 2 was probably the crowning gem of the entire series. A lot of people probably would agree with that. Who knows? Some people probably like Part 1 over Part 2. Again, that's how beauty of it is, guys. Everyone can agree to disagree. And that's where people get upset, too, because they don't understand what's the difference between opinion and fact. Generally, everybody who likes fighting games, I know friends who like fighting games. I respect that they like the games. I love the fact they love those games. Because to me, it's good knowing they enjoy something and are having fun. Do I shit on their parade about it? No. I mean, I don't play fighting games all the time, but heck, I love it watching people play fighting games because I'm remotely bad at them too, There's just certain games out there, like the Mortal Kombat series, I'm not great at. There's certain Street Fighter games I'm not good at. And that's just all there is to it. Soul Calibur games I'm decent at, but I'm not gonna, say, oh yeah, that's just how it is. I'm more for, more action-based games. I'm more for puzzle platformer style games. I'm more for the classic DOS games or platformers of the day. Nintendo, Genesis, and all that. Everyone can agree with the retro games who are in the wrestling and... I just said wrestling, didn't I? The gaming community, excuse me. And that's the beautiful thing of it. I mean, I'm not here to give anyone whatsoever a dab of disrespect in their opinions. I don't like doing that to people. I like getting along with everybody. And that's the beautiful thing. If you have friends you can disagree with, that's a beautiful thing, at the end of the day. So, I hope you guys are all doing quite well, and as for that, I'll bid you all abadoo. And that, of course, is my opinion of, the negativity in gaming. Some people just need to try to ignore these guys, because that's all there is to it. They're just trying to build views for their channel. Generally, some of those who are just being over excessively negative, it's just that whole angry video game nerd syndrome. While angry video game nerds aren't being completely serious at all with this negativity, some people are just sort of feeding into that because that's just how their personality traits are. So, again, what can you do? Shrug your shoulders, enjoy the game that they're criticizing, and that's all there is to it. I mean, I know full well some people are still going to consider Fire Emblem a 9.7, and it ain't going to bother me. Just for me personally, I felt the game wasn't as high calibered. That same goes for Devil May Cry, the new one that just came out. Looks like a freaking, rave party on acid with excessive amounts of violence, as well as Metal Gear Rising being this over excessive, culture clash, stealthy style game with blades with fancy mechanics as well as nipple touching. So again, I bid you guys adieu and take care.